Hi, this is Shane from soulfamily.net, and this is a message from my brothers out there today. Uh, for years now, I've been going to retreats and taking courses, seeing so many clients, hundreds and hundreds of clients, and in 90% of the cases, they're women. And that's been amazing for me in terms of exploring the inner feminine in myself and developing those codes, if you like, those frequencies in myself. But what I've noticed since the turn of the year is we've moved into this feminine dominant reality, which is about fairly easy for me to blend into. If anything, I've felt massive growth this year because of that inner balance between my inner masculine and feminine. But what I have noticed is that more and more men are coming into my awareness of needing a space dedicated solely to them. I'm sure if you're like me and you've been that only guy at a retreat, there was one I was at, I was the only guy out of 15 people. That amazing as it is nice to have a space where it's dedicated solely to men. That because there are unique things that we need to address and look at that just aren't the same as the women's groups. You know, like they have their dedicated things to look at, and there's something in brotherhood that I've feeling, probably for 4 or 5 years now that I really wanted to create, but it's only in the last few weeks where it's that feeling and that I suppose desire to create that, the inspiration to create it is coming through. So in my soul family community, I've just created a dedicated space for any brothers who wish to join us. And while they'll have access to the general community and all that provides, the dedicated space just for us to connect to and just share how we see the world. I can share my experiences over, well, a lifetime, but specifically over the last 12 years in terms of how to approach integrating these feminine principles that have become really dominant since the turn of the year as we move into a frequency dominant reality. So for the men out there that may be looking at the world around them saying, where do I fit in here? Because things have changed dramatically, and when I'm being a man or trying to express these divine masculine aspects, with this strength and fire and divine protectorship, I'm being told this is toxic masculinity and so on and so on. These buzzwords that get thrown around. So, and then if I'm oversensitive, I'm being told I'm weak. So it's tough time. Tough time for everyone. But from a man's perspective, it's been caught between this rock and a hard place of a show of strength and a show of sensitivity, and getting the balance right in between. So a lot of this work that I do is dedicated to the inner family, the subpersonalities, the parts of the psyche that represent the divine masculine and feminine in the inner warrior and the inner nurturer. And it's having the balance between the two. So the warrior aspect is not about going out and busting heads and all that sort of stuff. It's like an inner uh, steadiness and strength and a movable object, an immovable force feeling where you're just like this lion at the gate that doesn't need to show credentials, doesn't need to um, be aggressive per se, but it's just that sense of assertiveness that is real, warrior strength. And the battle that we're looking at is the battle for self knowledge, the realization that what we do within ourselves and the changes we create within ourselves are changing our entire reality and those who show up in it. So, having that true warrior strength, that inner strength, is where our divine masculine is coming from. And that's what we need to develop in tandem with the inner nurture, the divine feminine principles of inclusiveness and depth of feeling and so on, and realizing that it's in those um, deep dark places within the recesses of our soul that we can access our divine feminine. We can access deeper levels of love and praise and gratitude and trust and hope, that if we just fend that off, if we push it away and be stoic like we always are and just pile it on, I'll take it, no problem at all, Yes, we can keep going. We always will. But why not make it a little bit easier on ourselves and unburden ourselves and realize that because life has changed, we don't need to do all the heavy lifting anymore. We can actually progress through life more gracefully without this burden and feeling we're carrying the world on our shoulders when we have that inner support of our inner family, particularly from the inner nurturer, where we feel that we can be at home with ourselves, we can drop into these and address these deeper wounds and deeper feelings that we have within ourselves. Because while we might be great at, you know, doing and addressing terrifying things externally, and yeah, someone's in the house, I'll go down, I'll deal with it, I don't care. It's this inner warriorship that we really need to develop, of going into these places of where we've been wounded, where we maybe, you know, a lot of guys are not into talk therapy and all this sort of stuff. It's like, but how can I access these deeper parts of myself that I know I feel wounded? I know I just want to cry tears, but what the hell are they, and how do I access that, and where do I go to do this that doesn't make me appear weak? So the strength we can find by dealing with these things, by dealing with the traumas, releasing all this crap that's been stored in our being that's been weighing us down. If we can find that, then we can find access to the feminine. She's hidden beneath all that shit. You know, so if we can get access into that, that's where we can start experiencing deeper levels of these true emotions of love and passion and joy that we want to bring to our children, we want to bring to our wives and our families and our friends. And we want to do it in a space that is nurturing of that, you know, that we can actually allow ourselves to seem weak through our vulnerability, which is actually a superpower. That if we can get in and do that without losing sense of our masculinity and our manhood, you know. So this is what I can share with you from my own experiences of holding on to this warriorship, not losing sight of it, but tempering it down a little so it's not overtly aggressive on the outside, because there really is no need. When you have that assertiveness, you know, if well, a man or a woman, but let's say a guy walks into the room and you're like, geez, you don't mess with him yet, but he's not, but he's approachable. You know, it's someone who said, I reference, you know, Bundy Aki, a rugby player, like seems like a really top guy. You know, he's out in battle, you know, playing rugby, like top respect to those guys for what they put their bodies through. But that warriorship, and then he's walking around the ground with his holding his little girl in his arm, is that he's a dad. He's got that sensitivity. He can park that warriorship and have it in its right place. You know, so it's creating an inner balance, whether it's for the women or the men out there. This message is essentially the same at its core, in that we're striving for balance within, where we're not needing a partner to show us how to be sensitive. We're not needing a partner to show us, you know, from a woman's perspective, looking for a man to be the guardian. It's like, no, we are a protector. We do it all internally. You know, we're creating our own divine marriage, that inner union. And when we have that, then we start to attract other people in our lives who are equally balanced or in resonance with that, because that's what's happening now. Heart resonance is what's bringing in the people that we want to share time with, that we want to connect with, that we feel, yes, these are my people, this is my soul family. You know, and you might be lucky enough that your biological family is also your soul family, but very often that isn't the case. I've been lucky that way, and that they are. But what I really want to get out there is the message that is slanted just for the brothers. I still have my community of men and women, mostly women, but I want to now, this message is for my brothers out there. It's time that we step up and that we man up in a way that has at its foundation strong feminine principles of compassion, of nurturing, of inclusiveness, that are basically interwoven with our innate ability to be strong, to be warriors, to be protectors, to be the driving force of life. But we can't do that without the feminine component, nor can the women do it without the masculine component. We need both internally, and we need, wherever our weak points are, we need to focus on those. So whether it's that you're feeling, I'm just not good at, I feel my heart is frozen, I'm not good at accessing the sensitive part of me, but I know it's there and it really wants to come out, or that is part that's even overdeveloped and you want to figure out, how do I bring in the warrior to sort of complement that? So we will be looking at that in my soul family community, in the dedicated space for brothers, but also in offerings that I'll be doing. So next week I'll be doing one on the inner family, which will be discussing these dynamics, and also as the warrior nurture, but also the sage, the grandfather, the one who sees beneath appearances, very, very important part of our inner family. And of course the inner child, which softens the warrior. It brings the nurturer in to do her job of actually being there for the inner family, and it brings in the magic of life. Any brothers, any people I've been talking to, feeling way down. It's like there's so much going on out there. It's so heavy. How can we find this lightness of being again, and fall in love with life again, fall in love with ourselves, of who we are? Because if we're trying to find our identity out there in the masses and get recognition of who we are from out there, forget it. It's not going to happen. We have to find that within ourselves. We have to find a place for this burning fire of passion and desire and warriorship, and what it means to be a real man, of actually stepping up. We got to find that within ourselves. And if you need help with that, I'm here. I've done it. I'm not perfect by any stretch, but I do live a very balanced life. I do feel that life is very graceful, and I do feel very balanced internally, that I can share those codes, I can share those frequencies with you through the spaces that I offer in my community. I will post more videos like this online, specifically for the men, for my brothers out there, and I really look forward to meeting some of you soon. I think it's just time. So if this resonates, go to the website soulfamily.net, sign up for the inner family activation course if you feel inspired to, or just sign up for the newsletter, and I'll put some content out there as well. All right, guys, have a great day. Chat to you soon.